Hello and welcome to the Feedback Show. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
Nice to see you all again. It's good to be on camera. First time in a little while, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've been able to get together and do the Feedback Show this time. And some really good submissions come in this week. So we look forward to sharing, you sharing your tips, and hopefully it will help you guys out there. How have you been?
Okay. Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Busy?
Good. Oh yeah, busy. Yeah, busy.
Lots of projects, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
I have projects coming out of my ears right now.
Well, I'm in full swing at the moment, as you know, and I'm loving it. You know, in fact, I finished the last one 2 or 3 days ago, and I run out of cards. You know, my little cards.
Memory cards, yeah.
Yeah, so I had to order more, and I haven't been able to do anything at all. I can't do anything without little memory cards. So, but I've got them now. So
back on it.
Yeah, I'll be back on it later today, putting another one up.
You know, like how they have people will have like this dream of being like laying on the bed with loads of like money and dollar bills behind them and stuff like that. It's like me with memory cards right now. You've got so many memory cards. You could literally just chuck them in the air and just be like, I've got about 50.
I know that they're everywhere, aren't they? I've got some more which I'm holding on to now because I think you've got enough to.
I've got a lot to edit. Yeah.
So I'm holding on to them, so I can see them building up.
Yeah.
So it's lovely though, because I mean it's nice for all the.
Oh, they've got a lot to look forward to.
Oh, have they? And I'm varying it too, as people know. You know, the latest one with the taxi was a lovely project, and there's more of those as well coming up. Oh, lovely! I love it all.
Fantastic.
Bring them on.
Great. Right, let's start with this feedback for Mirella. Hello, Colin and Steve. I painted my neighbour's dog and wanted to give it to her as a Christmas gift. But first, I would like you to take a look and tell me what you think and have some tips for me how I could do it better. That would be awesome. I enjoy watching tutorials. Thank you for your time. So, what's your
I think it's really
here?
good. Well done. She's going to be thrilled to bits. It's a question, really. I think there's not a lot I can pinpoint. I think you've done a really, really first-class job of the presentation. It really looks cracking. I love the composition. We were talking the other day on the last feedback show about closing in. And that's a very good example. If you've got a background like that, which it's not bad, I think for me it would have been a little bit bright, but it's got a lot of impact. So therefore closing in is a really good idea. The other thing I would strongly advise you to do, you see where the under the chin.
Yeah.
Now, don't be put off by what I'm going to say, Mirella, because it's not a criticism as such. It's just a point that I would make. I would have toned that down a little bit, simply because if you imagine if that was just toned halfway between, or in fact, if you look at the photograph over there, you can see that that's nice and soft. So therefore, the nose, the mouth, and the whole face would come forward a bit more. It's kind of taking. It's sharing centre stage.
Yeah.
One of your expressions as an actor.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's sharing centre stage where really it should be just pushed up into the background a bit.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I would say, but otherwise I think you've done a really first-class job. Everybody, including me, I've got to say, will get better. As pastel pencils is that kind of medium. You learn every time you touch a subject and do a subject, you learn something, and you can see that you are on your way to great heights there. I think
Fantastic.
It's really good. They're going to be thrilled with that.
Good job. Well done, Mirella. Thanks for sending it in. I hope that helps. Next one from Charlie. I really enjoyed painting this picture. Colin is very detailed in his instruction and makes learning easy. I would like to understand how to get more colour value through layering. I was tentative to try and do that because I didn't want to mess up the picture. I'm also wondering if you can apply techniques to the pastels to make the eyes sparkle more, look like glass. I'm familiar with glazing techniques using oil, but this was my first venture into pastel. I really liked it and I want to do more of it.
I shouldn't worry too much about it. You've done a good job. I would say that it is, you're quite right, contrast. If you look at my picture, the hair, the face, the clothes, the background, everything has its place. It has just about the right tone. But when you look at someone who's really not that far in. I mean, don't suppose Charlie's done an awful lot of work, especially portrait work. That's the hardest of all. You're going to find your feet, and this is where you've got to find your feet. I would say that the colour of the hair is too light. The colour of the skin isn't too bad. I don't think you've done a bad job of that, to be honest. But if the hair had been a little darker, it would have made the skin look a little brighter. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the criticisms I would make there. But definitely go for more strength. All you'd need to do really with that, I wouldn't touch it now because, you know, look at the next portrait, right? Don't look at this one, because if you touch it and you ruin it, there you can't do anything about it. I would have added just a little more of the pink. You see the cheek? Look at the cheek for a moment. Mm-hmm. Now, if that had been not quite all over that colour, somewhere between the cheek and the lighter area surrounding it, somewhere that kind of tone would have been great. Mm-hmm. And you could have left the cheek that colour, and it would have made that blush just a little less.
It's a little more subtle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do that. As far as making the eyes brighter, I think had you made the skin a little darker, those eyes would have shone.
It's about contrast of making things, like you just said in the last one, about making things come forward.
That's right. That's what you need to do. But otherwise, no, I mean, well done.
Good job on this portrait, yeah. Portraits are hard.
It is hard, but there's lots, as you know, there are lots of portraits coming up, so you'll be able to see it all again.
Fantastic. Nice one, Charlie, well done. Okay, no message on this one, because this is just a simple picture that we wanted to, not a simple picture, but a simple request that we had from Irene, who wanted to draw this gorgeous puppy. I can't remember what, it was a Bordeaux
Cross. It was a dog, D-O-O-G-E, I think. It was dog Bordeaux Cross.
Yeah. Beautiful dog. I've never heard of this breed before.
I haven't.
She sent us the picture, and we just had to include it in the feedback show to kind of talk about what colours you would use for this. How would you approach this picture?
Well, first of all, the colour of the fur, I have my doubts as to whether that is totally accurate. I think it's probably just mellowed a little bit down on that. Anyway, let's look at the picture. That's all we can look at here. I would use the problem you've got really in this kind of picture. If you use the bright colours like the 187, 186, it's going to be too in your face.
You're vibrant.
Yeah, you've got to subdue those colours. And an ideal colour really would be grey. I would use the light grey, and I would use the warm grey, which is the 270 here. Mm-hmm. And then you could, once you put the 187, I would say probably here, put the 187 on top of that, you would mellow that down. It would automatically start to mellow. You could then use ivory, you could use a little bit of white to brighten it up, but then you can use 283 and 169 to pull the depth in there. As far as the colour is concerned, on the strong ear on the right-hand side, therefore you could use the same colours. I certainly wouldn't use you could use 270, but not too much of it, because if you make it too light, you're not going to get the depth. But the colours really 187, 283, 177. I don't think you need anything darker than that.
Okay.
For the dark colours. So
I'm looking like that, like the dog's looking at me. But what would you do with the eyes there? Because those eyes look very similar colour to the fur.
Yes, but the eyes, I would use grey again, and I would probably put a colour like, a good colour here would be the 172. Now 172 is a green.
Yes.
A green on its own would be too bright, but if you put the grey in, or the greys in, 270.
The earth green is quite a grey green
it is
anyway.
Grey green, that's right. That would be really nice, because you could get a nice subtle tone on that.
Right, so it's a little bit of colour there, just a little hint of the green, just to break up the ochres that you got.
That's what I'd use. And the nose again, you could use the same colours. Just 169 is a good colour there. not on its own. You'd degraze again.
Yeah, to mute that colour down. Yeah.
And then you could use a little bit 169, 283 again. Probably some... I would probably go for 181 as opposed to 175. 175 can be very harsh. It can be too gritty, you know, too earthy.
Yeah.
So you need to warm it up a bit. And 181 would certainly fit with the 169. Would work well together. There we are, you know. But
there you go. If anyone wants to give that a picture a go, we're actually going to produce that picture as a project, aren't we?
Yes, I am.
It's going to be a project on the website. So a little way off because we've got so many to go. But
sometime in about
10 years.
Yeah, something like that. I probably won't still be alive when that goes out, Steve.
Oh, but they will see it. They'll love
That's
it.
important.
Okay, there we go. So I hope that's helped Irene and anyone else that wants to give that picture or a similar picture a go. This request now, this is a request for some colours. This one came from Janine. She said, I've been working on Colin's still life pictures and I quite like them. I would like to do some pansies, purple and yellow. I can't quite figure out the base colours and the tone. I'm not even sure where to begin. It would be great if Colin could do a pansy picture. Any helps would be really helpful.
Well, no plans yet to do it. But who knows? I don't tend to do flowers, do I, very much?
No, not often.
And the reason is I'm not a great lover of the still life.
Yeah.
Not really, as you know. Animals and landscape, sure. But there are some flowers coming up, folks, so don't worry. I've got a few in the pipeline. But that one, if we just took a look at the pansy, the one right in the centre there,
yeah,
that's not really a problem. You'd use 230, I would say, would be a base colour for the mauvey colour, the purpley colour, violet colour.
Yeah.
As a start, as a base.
Yeah.
Don't put white underneath it. Use the 230. On top of that, there's 160, 138. Both of those two colours are very similar colours to that. So
almost identical. Like that's where I've just placed the cursor there is very bright, isn't it? It's almost direct.
Yeah, but you can't put. You see, if you put that on direct before you put the grey on, you same problem as before. It's going to be too much in your face. You need a subtlety, and that would work well as far as the rest of it's concerned. The yellow, that's not a problem. White, white definitely.
106.
186, 106.
106, yeah.
You might even put it. You might even experiment on a bit of paper before loose paper before you start. I'd use white, and I'd use a little bit of ivory in there. You've got to start to again use the subtle tones.
You've got to temper it down.
And then 106, 102 is another colour. Don't dismiss 102. I've used it quite a lot recently. Because 102 is a creamy, yes, it's a creamy, greeny, yellowy colour. Really nice tone. So maybe white and 102 rather than white and ivory probably would work.
Yeah, it's a colour we tend to skip over, isn't it? We tend to go straight to the ivory, but every now and again it has its use, doesn't it? Yeah. What about this deeper colour here, this deeper mauve colour?
Well, that, you really got to think... you wouldn't put. Would I put grey on? You see, again, if you don't put any kind of colour on, like grey colour, you're going to find it to be too rich when you start putting those brighter colours in.
Would you start with the mid grey?
What I would do is I would practice on paper before I started, but you could try the. 273 probably. No, 233 here, because you're looking at a bluey colour.
Yeah.
And then go straight in on top of that with one of the 138 on 160, and then you'd need to strengthen it still further. Now, and that probably would require a red. You'd have to put a red 192 or 225 in there. The reason is it won't come out as red because you've got the base colours underneath, which is
and that's a reddy purple, isn't it? It's not. If you compare the purple to the right of it and that purple, it's more like I said, a mauve.
Yeah, but you can't. You see, if the temptation would be to put 160, 138, depending on what you choose for the outer edge of that pansy, and then do a completely different colour inside, put maybe the grey and then put the red inside. That would be then a mistake because you haven't got any link between the two. You've got a chalk and cheese situation. You have to find something that combines the colours together.
Like a complementary tone.
There's a colour actually to the right of that flower. If you look at that one, Steve, yeah, you see that colour, that's more or less the same colour, but underneath that, to me, from my eyes now, that colour underneath it is just a little darker.
Yeah.
And more like I'm trying to say to you with the 160, 138, depending. And then with the base colour of grey underneath, 233. And then on top of it, you'd then have to work your colours. And you'd have to certainly put some either 181 or black on top of the red to create the depth there. Quite a lot involved.
Yes.
This is why I say practice on spare paper. That's what I do. I wouldn't just go ahead and do it. On a situation like that, I'd play with it first. Give it a go.
Yeah, do give it a go. Let us know how it goes as well, Janine. We'd be really interested to see if that advice helped you and you were able to produce this picture. And I hope that's been interesting for everyone else too. Okay, last one for today. And let's see, can I change this? There you go. Let's make this a bit smaller so we can see this one. I didn't put the lady's name here. Let me find it for you. Anyway, this lady here says, "Dear Steve, I think what you and your dad are doing is really marvellous, and you both seem to enjoy yourselves so much." Well, we do.
Oh.
Which is what it is all about. I have fun with the Faber-Castell pastel pencils, but I still do not know what I'm doing half the time. So please could Colin guide me where I've gone wrong, because I'm not happy with this finished picture. Mia was my daughter's beloved dog and is sadly no longer with us, and I wanted to give this to her for Christmas. I know I'm nearly there and the lightness is okay. I think the top of the head is too high and the colour is not quite right. Anyway, over to you, Colin. Let the master begin.
Well, while you're finding the name, I'll start talking about it.
Yes, it was it.
This is really a really good case of square drawing. I think you've probably done this by freehand. And it's very hard when you do an animal portrait freehand because you're going to get things slightly wrong. As you can look at the nose and the position of the eyes. You see, that's slightly off. They need to be down a little bit. You see, but this is all to do with square drawing. If you haven't got the drawing right, if you're line drawing and you're following that, you can't change halfway through. You don't think, oh, hang on, I've got that eye wrong, I've got to alter it. Square drawing stops all that. Using square drawing is perfectly permissible. I use it myself. If I do it, you should do it. I could probably do a pretty good representation of the photograph by drawing freehand because of the experience I've got, but I wouldn't risk it. I'd rather find those lines by square drawing and then have that as a guide. Within that guideline, I do redraw, as you know. Very often when you see my pictures, there's a lot of squiggles and things all around them. Especially in my later ones, which you will be seeing, because I like to get the feel in graphite first before I start committing myself to the colour. That then has to be erased. So that would have made a big difference here. And the other thing I would suggest you probably do, this is a really good case of not putting the whole animal in. Put it in a cloud. What I would do, if you look at the photograph for a moment and imagine that the paws, you've taken them away, gone.
Yeah, almost like where that line is.
Exactly right. That's it, you've got it. See, just bring it down into a nice V. Or one side could be just a little higher than the other, so it's not too symmetrical. And then bring it in a cloud. That saves all what I consider to be unnecessary area at the bottom. In fact, if you can... just bring that photograph up, Steve, to just a bit further, up a bit. Can you do that?
Hold on a minute.
That's it, keep going. See, okay, let it go there. Now, you don't want to cut it off there because that's not right. But you see what I mean? It looks better.
Yeah, the composition would be different, but the subject itself looks better. Yeah.
And I've included the other part of the ear in there as well.
Yeah.
So it's just a point. You know, these are things, this is why you get the other problem you've got there, of course, the eyes. You can't see the eyes on the animal.
The photo is Yeah,
so
it's
you're
too
having to
dark.
make them up, and that's always very hard. But my policy in a situation like that, if you get that, is to do what you see.
So if you can't see them,
I can't see
draw them
them.
as if you can't see them.
But draw them as though you know what you're looking at. You can get an idea. I mean, if you can always go onto the internet and find something similar, so
Right.
it gives you a clue as to what you're looking for. And then I would then gradually darken the eyes until they look like the one on the photograph. If people complain, you haven't got any choice. That's all you've got. And the dog, is the dog still with us?
No, it's passed away.
So you've got no choice. That's what I do. So those are my tips.
And this picture was sent to us by Maud. Thanks, Maud.
Tell you what I would also do. Sorry to break in for a minute. Oh, it's Maud, is it? Right. Well, Maud, I generally say to people, don't put that little heart on the collar on.
Yeah.
In this case, I would.
Oh, really?
Don't ask me why.
Why?
Don't ask me why. I don't. I just think it would look better. You see, you've got a lot of fur. If you look at that, you've got a lot of fur there. And you think, wouldn't it be nice to have something that's a little bit bright? But if you put that in, you've got to make the dog stronger in colour. If you decide, you're not going to do it, I know, but if I was doing it, I'd make the stronger in colour. Otherwise, the heart would take.
It would come too forward, right?
Yeah, but I'm just telling you what I would do, and I'd be inclined to do it, especially as the dog's no longer with us. So if you put that heart in and you put a cloud in there, it's going to be representative of where the little doggy is at the moment.
Lovely. Yes, very symbolic. Thanks, Maud. I hope that helps, and other people have found that helpful. I think that's all our submissions for this week. So we hope you've enjoyed that. I hope that's been useful. As always, feedback is a service that is available to our members. So if you want to find out about our membership plans, just go to colinbradleyart.com and there's a sign up button along the top. And you can look at all of our plans starting from $3.99 a month, and then you get access to the portraits and still life projects that we have. And there we go.
That's it.
Thanks, Dad.
Another good one.
Another good one. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on the next one. I'm Stephen Bradley.
I'm Colin Bradley.
Bye for now.